What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. It's been kind of quiet here in Red Sox Nation for a little bit now, right? You had the Devers extension, 2 weeks ago? You had the Trevor Story news. You had all that stuff come out, and then it sort of died down in terms of big storylines for this Red Sox team. And it has been a little bit since the Red Sox even signed anyone to a contract. Well, that changed last night because the Red Sox signed a new catcher for this Red Sox team. And it may seem like a small deal right now, but it could have some really big impacts on this 2023 club. So what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about the latest acquisition by the Boston Red Sox. We're going to go into what their contract looks like. We're going to talk about some stats and statistics that may point to a bigger impact on this Red Sox team. And we're going to talk about what that impact could look like, why it could be such a big deal for the 2023 Boston Red Sox. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start by talking about the player himself that the Red Sox signed, as well as what the contract looked like, because the contract itself is a little bit of a funky one. Right around 7 p.m. Eastern time last night, the Red Sox and Jorge Alfaro came to a minor league deal that was worth $2 million if he made the MLB roster. Now, this part isn't exactly insane. It's not a crazy contract by any means. This is pretty typical for minor league deals with an opportunity to make more money if you make the major league roster. No, the funky part of this deal is that it's a 1-year deal that has 2 player opt-outs in it, one on June 1st, one on July 1st as well. Now, these are most likely in place so that Jorge Alfaro has some options if once he gets to either one of these dates, he either A, doesn't feel as though he's getting the opportunity that he wants at the major league level, or B, he hasn't made the major league level at all. He doesn't think he's going to at any point this season, and he wants to explore other opportunities. Now, it is interesting that they are both in the first half of 2023. I would imagine that one of them would have been in the later half, but it makes sense, so he has the ability to go and find another team and still be a productive member of a team in 2023 if he decides to opt out. Now, I don't love this idea for the Red Sox specifically that he has 2 opt-outs, so if he's not feeling good about this at all, he has multiple opportunities to get out of his contract. And if the Red Sox are looking for a depth piece in Jorge Alfaro, which we will talk about in a second, that doesn't make a ton of sense to me. But at the same time too, it kind of makes sense considering they don't know if he'll even be on the major league roster. It's not entirely fair to Jorge at all. In the grand scheme of things though, the contract itself is fine, right? It's $2 million. That's pennies to Major League Baseball teams. It's not really going to affect our ability to sign anyone else and get them onto this team. And it's a contract that could have some really big impacts on the future of this Red Sox club. Now, the reason for that is because Jorge Alfaro was actually at one point a top prospect in Major League Baseball. At one point in 2021, he was ranked 39th on MLB's top 100 prospect list, so fairly high up there in the top 54 prospects in 2021. However, that hasn't fully translated to Major League Baseball. In 2022, he played in 82 games for the San Diego Padres, about half a season with the team. Now, in those 82 games, Jorge Alfaro had a 246 average with a 285 on base percentage and a 383 slug, as well as having a 94 OPS plus. So statistic-wise, in 82 games, he was right around league average, just about 6% below league average production in terms of his OPS plus, but right there at the average in terms of his full production. He also had 7 home runs and 40 RBIs in those same 82 games. Now, one of the big things with Jorge Alfaro, and the reason he was such a highly touted prospect, was because of his power potential. In 2022, he had a max exit velo, according to Baseball Savant, in the 97th percentile, meaning that there was only 3% of players in Major League Baseball who had a higher max exit velo than Jorge Alfaro. It hasn't fully translated to Major League Baseball yet, but once Jorge Alfaro gets a hold of a baseball, he can hit it a very long way. Just check out this video from the Winter League this off season. Look at how far he hits this ball, and also look at the way he celebrates. I love that. I love the passion. I love the cockiness. I'm a big fan of that. I was mostly focusing on how hard he hit that baseball because that's the true reason Jorge Alfaro was such a highly touted prospect. It was that power. And while it hasn't fully translated to Major League Baseball yet, that potential is definitely still there. Now, on the field, he's not exactly a good defensive catcher. In 2022, he finished with -4 defensive runs runs saved, which puts him fairly below average in terms of his defense behind the plate. But there are some good parts of Jorge Alfaro's game, like his pop time to second base, meaning that the time it takes once you get the ball into your mitt behind the plate and the time it takes to where you are throwing the ball to second base, he's in the 96th percentile in all of baseball, meaning that only 4% of catchers are better at popping up and throwing to second base than Jorge Alfaro. But all around, he was never really known for his defensive ability. All of his prestige as a prospect and as a young player in Major League Baseball has come from that offensive ability. Now in 2019, he had his best season with the Miami Marlins, and this is what I would love to get out of Jorge Alfaro. It was his only full season in the major leagues. He played in 130 games, and in those 130 games, Jorge Alfaro had a 262 average with a 312 on base percentage and a 425 slug with a 93 OPS plus. So on paper, he was a little bit below average in terms of his OPS plus and production at the plate, but he did also have 18 homers. Now, this was, like I said, his best year in Major League Baseball, and if we could get that sort of production at the plate in terms of power in this Red Sox lineup in 2023, it could really benefit it. We are missing right now a true right-handed power hitter, and Jorge Alfaro, while his stats don't jump off the page at you, while he hasn't been able to fully translate his power and ability to hit a lot of home runs at the major league level, that potential is definitely still there. And if we could get a season like a 2019 season where, hey, all of his stats are a little bit below average, right? He's a catcher at the end of the day. There aren't a ton of super good offensive catchers, but he is going to give you 18 to 20, 25 home runs. That would be a real boost to this Red Sox lineup. It's not just the fact that he does have power potential that could affect this Red Sox team. So let's talk about all the ways Jorge Alfaro and this signing affect the 2023 Boston Red Sox. Believe it or not, there is only about a month left before pitchers and catchers start reporting to spring training, which means, in my opinion, there's one of three things that's going to happen with Jorge Alfaro and his impact on this Red Sox team. The first option here is that the Red Sox are planning, or at least trying to, trade Connor Wong. Now, the reason I said Connor Wong and not just any catcher is because I don't envision the Red Sox assuming that Jorge Alfaro can be your everyday catcher for 2023. Reese McGuire being a lefty and having second half with this Red Sox team that he did have, it makes sense that they would want to hold on to him and trade Connor Wong, who at the end of the day isn't going to be the most valuable prospect in the world, but he does have some value attached to him. It could be something they are doing. At the very least, they are shopping him around a little bit. Now, the second option would be kind of a fun one, and that is that a battle of sorts takes place in spring training, a battle between Connor Wong and Jorge Alfaro to see who starts the year on this major league roster. Connor Wong is young. He hasn't had a ton of time to develop at the major league level, but in his time at the majors, he hasn't really blown people away. However, he does have experience with this pitching staff. Rich Hill, in fact, after he left the Red Sox, did an interview where he was asked, who do you think is the next leader of this Red Sox team? And he said Connor Wong. He thinks that he could see him emerging as a leader in the clubhouse because of how well he handles this pitching staff. On top of that too, Connor Wong is also a guy who can play outside of the catcher role. He can play second base, he can play first base, he can play a little bit of utility infield as well. And with a team like the Red Sox right now, who's really lacking middle infield depth, that could be a huge plus for this Red Sox team. Jorge Alfaro is also young, and he's hungry to prove that he is what everyone said he was and that he can compete at the major league level. Plus, he does have that power potential, and he has pretty good speed as well. So option two would be a ton of fun to watch. Which player comes out on top and makes the roster come opening day? Now, there is a third option. This one's probably the most realistic option, and that is that Jorge Alfaro was signed as simply depth. They need depth within the minor league system in case something goes wrong or one of these two players, Connor Wong and Reese McGuire, get hurt or start really underperforming. They have Jorge Alfaro in the wings just in case that happens. There is a reason that the Red Sox decided to allow or even add those opt-outs in Jorge Alfaro's contract, and it's because for the most part, he is probably going to be depth for this major league team. Now, personally, like I said, I would love to watch option two unfold. I would love to see some competition in spring training, a real storyline to watch after. Plus, competition's pretty healthy, and if you are fighting for your job, most likely you are going to perform better. So that competition could make Connor Wong and Jorge Alfaro better as individual players. At the end of the day, though, I think Jorge Alfaro's base impact on this Red Sox team will be to push Connor Wong either into a better role and into a better player or out the door. He could also end up, most likely, he is going to end up as minor league depth. But let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of this Jorge Alfaro signing? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you excited about it? Are you not excited about it? And how do you think it's going to impact this 2023 Red Sox team? Let me know all your thoughts on it down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seat.